10. Carry On Alice breaks their hearts again.
Pulling clear in the closing stages. Smart Call wins the Jambi Mid. And Smart Call comes home to win it in the Main Chance Farms Paddock Stakes.
Hello and welcome to tonight's edition of Breeding to Win. The horse racing world was rocked last week with the sudden passing of jockey Alec Forbes. He will be best remembered for his association with the top sprinter Val Thorens. Our deepest sympathy and condolences to his wife Lizanne, his children and his family. May his dear soul rest in peace. Moving on to see what's on tonight's show and what we've got in store for you. Well, let's take a look. We catch up with Glenn Hatt to see how life after race riding is treating him. My guest this week is Lucky Hudolakis. We feature Captain of All. Pippa Mickelborough chats to us about Miss Frankel's impressive win.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.
Glenn Hatt rode over 2,000 winners during his illustrious career. Fiona Ramsden catches up with Glenn to find out what he's been up to since hanging up his riding boots.
The Breeding to Win team are here at Atlantic Beach Golf Estate this morning, where we'll be chatting to ex-jockey Glenn Hatt, who is now taken over the position as racing manager at Main Chance Farms and doing a sterling job in a very short period of time. Glenn, we're going to start off with how your career started out. You were born in Fish Hoek, and at the academy you were known as Fat Hat.
Yeah, Andrew Fortune, Gerard Basson, I think they were the two main instigators of that nickname. In my year, I was a lot older than the intake. I was 2 years older than the guys, Robbie Fred and Pierre Stradam and them. And I was naturally a bit heavier. So the nickname Fat Hat, and funny enough, I'm a lot lighter than all those guys that nicknamed me Fat Hat.
And your first winner came at Scottsville for Vaughan Marshall in 1982.
Yeah, that was, you know, they say you'll never forget. I've certainly never forget. In fact, I've got still the original photograph hanging up in a certain place in my house here at home. Yeah, you know, you don't remember those days at Samborium. I think he probably gave a number of apprentices over the years their first winners, funny enough.
Well, you've served the industry as a top rider now for many years. You've ridden well over, I think, 2,000 winners, including 27 Grade 1s and 86 other graded successes. It's just fantastic, isn't it? A phenomenal career.
I've had, yeah, look, you know, I can't complain. I certainly achieved what I wanted to achieve, but obviously as a competitive rider, you're always looking to achieve more. And you know, I can. Now that I'm retired, I can say I had a wonderful career and did exceptionally well, thanks to a lot of people.
I think you've won 2 Mets, but you didn't quite manage a July, unfortunately.
No, I didn't. I think every jockey's dream, as we know, is to win the July. A number of places, 3rd, 4th, but not quite winning it. But, you know, I'm happy. You know, I won 2 Mets and, you know, it's my hometown and you know, I certainly did a lot better than other Cape boys that, you know, have never won a Met.
Exactly, absolutely thrilling. Now, what was your decision to have a spell in Mauritius?
I went through a period in my life where I was a bit just working hard and not getting the results, and I just wasn't happy with where I was going, and I seriously thought about if I could go into another career, I would. And funny enough, I was even riding winners at that time, but I wasn't happy in what I was doing. And when I elected to go to Mauritius, I was just finished having won the Natal Championship with Mike Airy. So it wasn't like all doom and gloom, but I just needed a change in my life. And I got offered a job with Kiki Henry, who's unfortunately passed on now. And he was like a father to me there in Mauritius. I had his family. It revived me in a way that I looked at racing in a different light, and the amount of pleasure that you got riding as a jockey, and for the owners there, it really revived me and made me want to get hungry again for winners again.
Well, you were Mauritian champion for 3 consecutive seasons, which is pretty special. You won all the top races there, and I think you're one of the top jockeys foreign jockeys to have actually done that.
Yeah, I think I still hold the record for the most winners of a visiting jockey to the island. It hasn't been broken yet, so I'm proud of that fact. But you know, it was hard work. I tell you now, come the end of the season, boy, I couldn't wait to get back to South Africa because it was mentally and physically exhausting. But I had a very good, as I mentioned, Kiki Henry behind me at that time, and wonderful owners. And but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And as I said, you know, it certainly revived me and made me feel better about myself as a jockey.
You were absolutely flying with the Brett Crawford stable when your injury came. You were winning all the top races. It must have been a very frustrating time for you. Yeah,
you know, it was. You know, I just formed this fantastic relationship with Brett. Horses like Futura, Captain America, and whatever I put my leg over, they were winning. So it was well into the season, and I started getting this problem with my pain in my thumb and wrist. And I didn't take much notice of it because I just thought, you know, it's just aches and pains, you're getting older and everything. But I didn't realize it was actually quite a serious problem that I had. And after consulting a specialist, they actually said to me, "Oh, you'll never ride again." I said, what are you talking about? I'm riding. There's nothing wrong with me. No, you won't. You're going to, in a couple of months' time. Anyway, I ignored it and I carried on having the odd injection, and funny enough, it went away, but then it came back quite severely. So it probably 6 months into the racing career of Futura and all those big horses, I had to make a decision and say, look, I've got to have an op. And but that was an op just to try and fix a problem or fix it, and then carry on riding as normal. And fortunately, it didn't end up that way.
Well, you were very brave because Cortisone basically got you through that Natal season before you had the op. And then, you know, unfortunately, after the 2 or 3 months, it didn't come right. But just explain, it's a build-up of cartilage, isn't it, that rubs together, which basically
Well, we've all got
bones.
the specialists like to call it. They call your cartilage in between your bone. They call it white gold. But that's how important it is to you. It is a necessary tissue between your bones that basically is like an oiling system. And I'd basically, with over many falls in my career, jockeys always landing on their hands or prevent themselves. I had damaged the cartilage in my wrist to a point whereby there was just no more, and I was just had basically bone on bone. And you know, the cortisone would help for a month, but you know, leading up to the last 6 months of my riding, it was basically a cortisone shot every month, which you can't have. You've got to stop. Eventually, it just eats away the cartilage.
Well, you rode your last win at Greyville in 2014 and you went out with a bang because you had a great Grade 1 double in Futura and Waving Flag.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's any jockey out there that probably you could say their last race meeting they won 2 Grade 1s. So I was very fortunate. Waving Flag, the Gold Cup, and Futura, the Champion Stakes. So yeah, it ended, you know, I won on them on the Saturday. I flew back to Cape Town on the Sunday and I had the op on the Monday. And thinking I was going to ride again, and I didn't.
And you didn't get much of a chance to think, what do I do now? Because you got the call from Justin Veermark, who was working for Main Chance at the time. He decided to go on with Green Street Bloodstock and thought you would be the likely candidate to maybe take the position.
A surprise, you know, when Justin approached me and said to me, would I be interested in doing what he was doing for Main Chance and Dr. Andreas Jacobs. So I said, look, I'd be interested, and eventually had a meeting with Andreas at the sales, and I felt certainly very honoured to have been thought of. You know, I didn't even expect it. So, and it certainly made me think what I could do as now a retired jockey, because I've got to do something. I couldn't just sit around doing nothing, what I had been doing the last couple of months. So it was certainly an exciting new venture that I was going into.
Well, it's a fantastic farm, Main Chance Farms, and what a real gentleman to work for, Dr. Andreas Jacobs.
He is, you know, he certainly is a special man. I'd ridden quite a number of winners for him over the years, but not having really met him personally and chatted to him. I'd met him at just a handshake, Mr. Jacobs, you know, how do you do, you know, and very in awe of the man that you know, Main Chance. And but having now met him and looked at the way he looks at life and racing, opened up my eyes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy to have in racing. Now, your job there is obviously managing mainly the racing side of it, and you contact trainers, you keep an eye on their program and their wellness. But you're also involved in the farm, which is quite challenging for you.
It is challenging, Fee. Having been for 32, 33 years of racing, just been revolved around racing, and then suddenly going into the stud side, which I tend to regret not being a bit more involved and following more closely over the years. But I never emphasized myself being in this position. But, you know, I'm loving the racing manager side of things, interacting with the trainers, looking at the youngsters, and I'm looking at racing now in a totally different light, and I can see what owners have got to go through, the downfalls, and the great things about when your horses win and everything, and it's certainly opened up my eyes to a lot of new things in racing.
And congratulations on picking up the award at the Equus this week for Silvano being champion sire. That was brilliant.
Yeah, no, listen, geez, today just to be associated with a horse of a stallion of Silvano is just fantastic. And I must admit, going up and receiving the award, was really special. I think the last time I'd been up in Joburg, the awards was on Winter Solstice when he won Horse of the Year and Champion Racehorse.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. And you've also got Kuwari standing at Main Chance, another top stallion.
Another top stallion. He's still got obviously a long way to go before he reaches Silvano status, but he had a fantastic weekend just gone past, which bodes well for the sales on at the moment. And he's certainly a sire. I think is going to make his mark over the years to come.
Well, your wife Lara and the two girls have been hugely supportive over the years throughout your career, and that continues. And it's lovely because you've taken on Waving Flag as a retired racehorse, and the whole family are involved.
Yeah, listen, I've never seen my wife so in love with a horse before. She's the first one to go give him the carrots and can't wait to get out of that car and rushing into the stable. And it's nice that I can give something back. You know, when I heard about his poor episode, you know, the story what happened to him, I just said, but funny enough, we had spoken before he got kidnapped, we call it that. I'd actually spoken to Brett Crawford about Waving Flag, and but I'd never wanted to get involved because owning a horse, the kids and everything, I've tried to keep my children away. But eventually I've had to succumb to it, and I'm actually enjoying it. And nice to take him out for a little ride in the mornings. But my kids aren't old enough to ride him yet. I've got to get him a bit more under control.
But I know it is an expensive game, but once it's in our blood, I think we do like our children to carry it on, and that's fantastic. Now, we're sitting here in your garden. I remember you building this house at Atlantic Beach. You were one of the first to build here, weren't you?
I was probably the 8th or 9th house on the estate that was built. So all this area, Arahat, you can see there was nothing. It was actually quite peaceful and serene and just quiet. It's still quiet, but as you can see, it's built up now, and it's been a great investment. I'm very happy with my decision to buy initially.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you very much for chatting to us this morning, Glenn, and we wish you all the best with Main Chance Farms.
Thank you, Fee.
Captain of all is the first Grade 1 winning son of the late champion Captain L to go to stud. This handsome young stallion stands at our champion breeder's Klavervlei stud.
Captain of all, Captain L's first son is stud here at Klavervlei. I got an email from Alan Porter of Trunix just to remind me and tell us that, are we aware that we have the fastest son of Roberta in the world? We've passed a photo collage around of some of his babies, and I must say our internal panel scored 14 Captain of alls. I think there were 4 10s. There were 3 9.5s, there were 3 8.5s, and there were 4 8s. They are simply stunning animals. And what we're really excited about is, although he's a horse with immense substance, he looks quite low on the ground. He's throwing horses with a lot of leg. And we believe that it's the English speed, this classic speed, that's coming through into his progeny. This horse was rated 126. The highest ever rating for a horse in South Africa by the NHRA. In his first year, he had 131 mares. He got 88% in foal. His second year, he got 117 mares, and he clocked 90.5% pregnancy rate, which is phenomenal. So he's definitely, without any question, going to have a really good opportunity going to stud.
Up the outside, Just Essential is also running an absolute cracker, and Safe Harbour has taken off between runners. It's Safe Harbour that comes to the front with Just Essential. These two to the wire. Just Essential from Safe Harbour.
Joe's Bond hanging tough. Carry On Alice trying to get to her along the outside. Joe's Bond keeping her at bay. Carry On Alice. Scandal is running on. Joe's Bond keeps rolling though and stays on to win from Carry On Alice.
It's William Longsword with his head in front. He's taken the lead in the Guineas. Gold Standard is wearing him down with each and every stride. The post looming. William Longsword from Gold Standard.
Well, one of those trainers that has successfully transformed from riding into being a trainer is Lucky Hudolakis. It's my pleasure to welcome Lucky Hudolakis to the Breeding to Win show and to catch up with him here at the Vaal Racecourse. Lucky, thank you for taking the time to chat to us.
Yeah, pleasure, Jules. Thanks for having me.
Tell us what it was like hanging up your riding boots and then all of a sudden taking out your trainer's license, because it's two different worlds, even though you're in one horse racing industry.
Yeah, Jules. Yeah, it took me a long time to snap out of it. I think I did about 3 years of rehab and trying to get back into riding. And yeah, it just happened. One day I got home after golf, happy. And yeah, I was summoned to the balcony and to the patio, and there was Kuni and my wife, and they just told me, you're not going to become a trainer. No more of this playing golf and running around. And I tried to dig my toes in. Didn't work, and yeah, that's how it began. And yeah, they stuck me straight into hard labor.
I have to say, you look to be enjoying it.
Yeah, Jules, yeah, obviously now I'm enjoying it. I've met a lot of wonderful people on this journey, and I've been very blessed. Had a lot of people, you know, it's hard for me to mention them all. I'm gonna forget, you know, like obviously started with Kuni and guys like Warren, you know, they're still behind me, they're still here, and met guys like Bryn Ressel, I mean, Heinrich Rix, Michael Leaf, you know, just to mention a few. There's a lot of people, you know. I mean, when I met Heinrich, a lot of them, they start off as owners and then we actually become good buddies.
You started obviously with a small string and it's grown over time, but obviously JJ really flew the colours for you in your stable and of course worldwide. I mean, for any trainer, I think that's a huge feather in his cap to take a horse overseas.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, it started, I was very blessed as well. My first year, I actually had a good Philly supper club, you know, got the ball rolling for me. And while she was doing a judge, I was starting off. And yeah, so they got me going. And yeah, you know, then came along guys like Keith Waterson and all these guys. And I just kept on, and we just grew. I mean, when they told me I'm starting to train, I had 2 leased horses. And then obviously, then all the guys started coming to the party. And so we grew. And yeah, JJ took me a long way. I mean, I wasn't happy the first time when he went abroad. You know, he was supposed to be sold, he wasn't sold, and, you know, whatever happened. Then he came back, he basically came here to retire, and next thing we realized he found a whole new lease in life. We got him back, he won the 2 Group 1s, and then I was told, well, you're not taking him overseas. No, I wasn't happy, but, you know, because I was panicking. You know, I thought, how am I going to do this? I mean, I'm still like a baby trainer, and I still am a baby trainer. But, yeah, so anyway, I couldn't have asked for it to go better. It went wonderful, and, yeah, as you say, the rest is history.
For still a baby trainer, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, look, Jules, obviously, look, I'm satisfied with what we've done. You know, the stock that we can get, obviously, I can't go to the sales and buy what I want. And so we basically collect, you know, what we can, and don't cry. Just come home, look after them, keep boxing, and, you know, just try win races. And, you know, as long as you're winning races, your yard will be full. And, you know, and the good ones will come. They pop up, even though they're cheap or homebreds or whatever they are. But for some rhyme or reason, I'm very fortunate I get them, man.
You're obviously one of those buyers that enjoy the ready-to-run sales, and I know CTS isn't having one this year, but you were quite busy last year at the CTS ready-to-run sale. Not only at the sale, but you know how to win those type of races as well, obviously with your win and your victory with Chili Con Con last year's.
Jules, the contrary. I'm actually not a fan of the ready-to-run cell. I enjoy the concept, but I think those horses do too much early. But I'm a busy bunny at every cell. As you see, I search every corner trying to find something. You know, you don't know where they're hiding. And yeah, and I don't know if the people are aware of the story. I mean, with how I got Chili Concon. The horse was supposed to stay in Durban. I didn't take no for an answer. Found Matthew. Said to him, you go there, you fetch that horse and you bring him back here. And found Mark Leaf. I told him, listen, I went and fetched the horse and it's back here. And he, like a gentleman, just said, okay, that's fine. And the rest is history.
Obviously, that little fighter instinct in you coming out of being a jockey, because I think when you rode, there was probably more of that than we see today. Obviously comes through in your training, the likes of not saying or not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, well, Jules, that's it. You know, and like I get down on myself a lot of time. Like you'll have a bad run for a month or two, and you start thinking. But I've always said to myself, don't chase it. It'll turn. You know. It's hard to say. Like you know, obviously it's my job to get a horse to come well. But I mean, if he's down in the dumps at the moment, there's nothing I can do to get him well in 2 days or 3 days. Just don't panic and just go with the flow, and they will find themselves, and then they will reward you.
I think that's where a lot of trainers tend to go wrong, is when they hit that down spot, they sometimes change a little bit too much, and that's when I think the wheels come off completely.
Well, that's what I've picked up in my career. And look, obviously, and also you got to communicate with your people and just tell them what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I don't know if you remember just now the last World Cup time. I mean, Michael said also he ran a horse. He knew it wasn't ready, but the horse was there, so they ran it. And as he said on the TV, he said, people do stupid things at times. You get caught, and like a lot of times you're trying to get all. Like that this horse can qualify for X race, but if he's not ready, I can't train the program. I can only train what's in front of me, So a lot of times you start overcooking them to try and get them ready for a race, and you end up going pear-shaped.
Absolutely. Stick the horse backwards. Now, big question, because we've got the next Empress Palace Ready to Run race coming up in November, obviously being on Charity Mile Day. Have you got any candidates for that so far?
Actually, I haven't got any that have qualified, but I will. And I believe I will be competitive.
Well, you got time. We only September. We're just starting September.
Well, that's actually what I'm trying to tell the people who own the horses. I think I'll be strong.
Okay, no names.
No, not yet. I don't want to put my foot in it. But this whole sums, if everything goes well, and everything goes according to plan, yeah.
So in a nice way, you're telling the public to watch out for your newcomers.
I'm out there to defend my title.
Thank you very much, Lux. We wish you all the best. We look forward to seeing you throughout the season. We know you'll be flying the flag high during the Gauteng season, as always. You're always competitive. And we just love interviewing you for your sense of humour and your just down-to-earth personality.
Yeah, look, Jules, I know as long as we can just keep ticking over the whole yard is just pretty much, a lot of my old campaigners I've had to retire, rest. But as I said, I'm blessed. I've got a whole bunch of new babies that have come in, and so yeah, we pretty much like sort of dropped, and now we have to start again. So yeah, we'll be doing our best.
Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Jules. Thanks for having me.
He's a stallion. He's by Galileo, who's the best stallion in the world. He's out of a Pivotal mare, who's Pivotal's the best stallion in England. He's a great horse.
Towards the finish, Galileo joins the greats in winning the Dual Derbies.
The United States being tackled by Haraki. The United States repelling the challenge of Haraki, and the United States draws clear to win the rounded by 3/4.
This horse produces a quality, precocity, and soundness. Whether they win at 2 years old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6, they just keep on running.
Admiral Kittener's taking the lead now for Rosie Napravnik in the Secretary of State's. Admiral Kitten on top.
Miss Frankel couldn't have been more impressive in her victory at Scottsville last week. Pippa Mickleborough tells us more about this emphatic victory.
Frankel fever really hit South Africa last week when Miss Frankel bolted home at Scottsville on second time of asking. Really exciting for South Africa to have this filly, and with me this morning is Pippa Mickleborough. Pippa, the roofs must have just nearly raised off here at Aventure when she won last week.
It was a really fantastic day. You know, we discussed whether to go up and support her, but it's a lot of pressure for everybody, and we decided to just let Dennis and Anton do their thing. And yes, a great excitement on Aventure that day.
Well, she went off 8 to 10 favourite, and she won by about 4.5 lengths in the end, bolted home.
Yeah, and they tell me, you know, to win from Scottsville from the front, it's not an easy track. We've had many horses that we've had in the past that didn't enjoy Scottsville, but I think she handled it like the Miss Frankel we know. And that's what she shows us, has been showing us for a while now.
Well, she had her first run at Kenilworth when she also went off 5 to 10 favourite, and she was disappointing. But Dennis has said that, you know, things didn't go right for her that day, and maybe she wasn't just quite ready. He has said that she's a little bit uptight at home and needs that bit of extra time.
You know, I think he says that to protect himself, because actually her work was very good here. You know, she'd been to Kenilworth, she knew what she was going to do. So I just put it down to total stage fright. She was ready, nobody put on under any pressure, or Dennis under any pressure. And he's not, if you know Dennis, he would never run if he didn't think she was going to do well. So I don't know what happened on the day, but we'll just put it down as a learning curve. And, you know, she put all the naysayers to the rest a few months later.
She is a little bit excitable, a little bit more so than her mother. I mean, on the race day, Anton actually got off her down at the start, but once he was in the stalls and out and running, it was game over.
You know, he says that, you know, Mom, although, you know, never gave Dennis any issues when training, Mom was not a sort of strong-willed yearling and horse on the farm, and daughter's the same. They sort of know what they want to do and they know where they want to go, but I would assume as she gets more in the groove, she'll get settled. And she's a pleasure to work with. No issues. Yeah.
And I think Dennis reported just taking it race by race, really. You know, just taking her steadily along.
Yeah, listen, I think you know, the press were onto us all the week before, and I kept saying to him, she's a horse trying to win a maiden race. Let's just let her get going. Her work is excellent at home. She shows above average ability. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that Frankel himself would be doing what he's doing. So the pressure is immense on everybody, but we try not to put the pressure on Dennis, and I think Anton was a great idea to put him on as well, because he's a pro, he knows what he's doing.
Well, she won like a true Frankel on Wednesday, and you added a little pressure to Anton, because I believe you sent him a message in the morning, look after my girl.
For me, I try to get everybody just to understand she's a horse trying to win her first race. She doesn't know who she's by and who she's out of. And I just think, Anton, I just said to him, don't do anything dramatic, just look after her. I was worried about Scottsville, to be honest, because I've had bad luck at Scottsville, first timers running for the first time there. But listen, he handled it very well.
But now she's bred by the Tabrers and yourself here at Aventure. This is where she was brought up. Now let's just go back to the very start. The decision to send Valderrama to England to put her in foal with Frankel.
Well, obviously, if you look back in those days when Valderrama retired to stud, there were very small choices of proven stallions in South Africa, similar to what we're going through now. And, you know, the two top horses for me, Dynasty and Silvano, I don't like sending them maiden mares. So my thoughts were, why would I now send my best mare as a maiden to those two stallions? I don't think it works, my personal opinion. So what do you do with a horse like that in the country? Do you go unknown? Do you go unproven? And, you know, I mean, that's my job, breeding. That's what I love. So it was my dream. And as I said in my Facebook page, and to the Tabor family, thank them for letting me live my dream, because I really wanted to go to Frankel when he raced. I never thought we'd get there. She battled to get in foal. It was it's a huge mountains that whole package to make it do what it did and win in Scottsville. It's a major relief, because, you know, we've had some setbacks since Miss Frankel was born with the mare. So it's been a really stressful time, but I'm delighted it's arrived.
And it was risky. There was a lot of luck involved in travelling the mare to Britain and getting her back here safe and sound and in foal.
It happens so often that you send them overseas. If you speak to people, there's some wonderful race mares from South Africa currently there. They're not in foal, they don't get in foal, they don't travel well, they reabsorb. So listen, you know, we had great success there, but we've had a bit of bad luck on her return home. So I suppose you lose on the swings and whatever. So we did well that side. We got a lovely Oasis Dream filly and then Miss Frankel, but we've had to, you know, take a bit of a hard knock since then.
But she was born and raised here, and I think she's had more visitors than the Queen herself in Britain.
You know, obviously, Frankel, when he retired to stud, was a great racehorse. But him himself, his legion of followers has grown immensely, because he's done so well as a first season sire and now a second crop sire. And for me, it was just an idea to have a Facebook page. I never thought in my wildest dreams it would grow and she would have the following she has. It is huge. I mean, around the world, people phone. It's amazing, actually, but that's social media for you. It shows you. I mean, as far as I know, she's the first horse that had a Facebook page, because Facebook didn't know what to call her. So I think when you look it up, I think she's called a sports person. So listen, it works wonderfully. It's a great way of us of promoting the brand and promoting the farm worldwide, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's wonderful for South Africa to have a Frankel. You know, Frankel is so well spoken about. And the excitement going forward in the future, watching her race and hopefully go on to much bigger things.
Yeah, listen, we hope she can be half as good as Mom. You know, Mom was a really, really great racehorse. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves. When the press and the pundits talk about sprinting, she beat the colts most times she ran in Group 1 company. She was superb racehorse. The fact that Frankel's turned out like he was. Somebody just said to me this morning, imagine if she'd been a colt. There'd be your next stallion for Aventure. Listen, that would have been wonderful. And my only regret is I really did think about leaving her one more year there and going to Galileo. That was what I'd like to have done. But, you know, the exchange rate was quite exorbitant at that stage, and it was becoming quite a pressure to have her there. And, yeah, it's nice to have them all home.
Well, she's beautifully bred, isn't she, Frankel Valderrama? What more could you want? And, yeah, it's so exciting going forward into the future. Now, Anton obviously rode her on Wednesday, but Sean Veal has a big part to play in bringing her on and all the work he's done at home.
Listen, I commend Sean for that. You know, it was really my decision. I said to Dennis, I said, listen, I just think the pressure on the day is going to be a lot. And it's hard for a young man like Sean to ride a horse of that ability with that pressure. And if something goes wrong again, we'll question him. And that will be a natural way to go, because a lot of people weren't complimenting what happened at Kenilworth, you know, and I think he took it well. But to take the pressure off him, let's put Anton on. I don't know what will happen in the future. You know, I never really interfere with Dennis. I think Sean deserves to stay with her. But, you know, we'll wait till that day comes.
We'll see what happens. But I agree with you. I think it was total stage fright first time out. And second time of asking, she showed what she's really all about. Now, obviously, Dennis has said he's going to take it race by race, but I suppose ultimately we all want to see her in Cape Town for the season. Yeah,
that'll be her next plan. You know, she did actually enjoy Cape Town last year. She thrived down here. She spent the whole of summer last year. So she'll come down. I thought maybe he might give her one more run in Natal before he came down, but he said no, she'll leave with the whole string towards the end of middle end of September, and we'll look forward to seeing her in Cape Town. You know, we'll see how we go.
And her home will finally be back here at Aventure one day.
One day we'll have her home. So we've got Mom here and her half-sister, Dream Dara, who was also supremely talented. Very sad injury that ended her racing career. So we've got mom and half sister already on the farm. Yeah.
Well, everyone is following Miss Frankwell. Congratulations again, and we'll watch her with a very close eye. Thank you for chatting to us this morning, Pippa.
Pleasure. Let's hope she goes on from here.
Thank you.
Well, that brings tonight's show to an end. From myself, Julie Alexander, and the rest of the Breeding to Win team, we hope you thoroughly enjoyed it, and we hope to join you next time for our next edition of Breeding to Win.
Carry On Alice breaks their hearts again. Pulling clear in the closing stages. Smart Call wins the Jambi Mid. And Smart Call comes home to win it in the Main Chance Farms Paddock Stakes.